Hello, and welcome back. It's the African Humanist. I'm back again tonight, and we will be talking about how women are treated in religion. Um, I think some people were in the chat already. Let's see, Mark was here, Michaela was here. Hello, guys. So, let's talk about how religion treats women. This is one of the reasons why I left Christianity. I was done because of the expectations of religion on women. They tell you women must not do this, women must not do that. The list of rules and regulations for women. I mean, I just I ask myself, how on earth do you people, how do you people want women to thrive in your religion when you put laws and instructions and you know some of them are just very pointless, some of these rules and regulations they put on women. But I'm going to review a video, and later on I will open up the conversation. I'll open it up, and people can join me in conversation. So yes, Michaela, you are right, religion is very misogynistic. And now, this particular video doesn't just focus on Christianity alone. It focuses on religions as a whole. It was like a debate setting, and people were speaking from each religion, speaking about their opinions of how women are treated in their religions. And let me tell you, it's not good, not good at all. Religion is can be despicable to women, can be so judgmental to women and treats them like they are next to nothing. Even when Jesus Christ was on earth, he didn't make it better. When miracles were done, women were not counted during the time of Jesus. So even women didn't mean much to Jesus at all. The Jesus who was supposed to be the ultimate, he didn't care for women, unfortunately. So, trigger warning. You might hear things that will upset you, that would make you angry, but that's the whole idea. And I'm hoping that people, especially women, when you realize how your religion is treating you, hopefully you will find the right, or the will to say enough, I'm done. You will find you'll be able to stand up for yourself and say, not for me. So without further ado, I'm going to play the video. And guys, just you might see and hear something that will upset you. Hey, Atheismo, just give me about 10-15 minutes into the video, and then I will open up and we can have a conversation. Okay, guys? So anybody who wants to come and join me, we can have a chat. So I'm going to share my screen here and we can start. We can start reviewing the video. So when I finish, um the video is going to the links to this video is going to be in the chat. And the video says, the title of the video, are religions unfair to women? I've answered the question. Religions are, they're very unfair to women, but it's as we carry on, you'll see for yourself why I say that religions are very unfair to women and how they treat women despicably. Did I say that English right?
Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to the big question from King Edward VI Handsworth School in Birmingham. I'm Nicky Campbell.
So this is the big questions. So I've been on this I've been on this television show actually. This year on the 14th of February, I was on this show. I was asked to come and speak. So yeah, if you look for the big questions, the 2021 February 14th edition, I was on the show. I know. Okay, guys, let's
manage their own money, the right to vote, the right to work at whatever trade or profession they so choose. Women can be queens, prime ministers, they can win Nobel Prizes for science, Olympic medals for boxing. They can still not be a bishop, though, or a Catholic priest, or...
Guys, can you hear the video okay? Yes, extremely unfair to women. Oh, I know I'm going to be pissed. Yes, Michaela, I know you will be. But don't worry, I will open it up and we can speak. So, please let me know if you could hear the video okay. Let me play it further and see. There was something he said at the start, which let me start all over again.
Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to the big question from King Edward VI Handsworth School in Birmingham. I'm Nicky Campbell. Well, it took more than a century of argument and struggle, but now British women have the right to be educated, the right to marry the man of their choosing, the right to own their own property, the right to borrow and to manage their own money, the right to vote, the right to work at whatever trade or profession they so choose. Women can be queens, prime ministers, they can win Nobel Prizes for science, Olympic medals for boxing. They can still not be a bishop, though, or a Catholic priest, or lead men in prayer in a mosque or an Orthodox synagogue. So this morning we're asking just one very big question. Are religions unfair to women? To debate...
Okay, already at the start of this, it's already problematic. Nick said, in the Church of England, women are not allowed to be bishops. So if you're a woman, you're in the Church of England, you're not allowed to be a bishop. If you're in Islam, you cannot lead men in prayers. It's already problem. Just without even, before we even get started, it's already problematic. So let's carry on further.
This, we have distinguished theologians and writers, campaigners and converts, believers and apostates from four faiths, and they will be encouraged by a very lively Birmingham audience. You can join me too via Twitter. You can log on to bbc.co.uk/thebigquestions. You'll find links to continue the discussion online. Well, last month, the Dalai Lama said he would be pleased if his successor were to be female. Now we are 21st century, he said. Female have more potential, so should take more active role regarding promotion of human compassion. Well, it might happen soon in Tibet, but we're a long way from a woman being elected to Pope or enthroned as the Archbishop of Canterbury or appointed Chief Rabbi in Britain. Are religions unfair to women? Professor Francesca Stab.
So women cannot be bishops. Women cannot be, they cannot, already, it's already problematic just as we started. What am I doing?
Cutting and pasting by men.
Hang on, what did I just do?
Cutting and pasting, not really. I think the way in which...
Okay, so this lady here, he just asked a very good question.
From a woman being elected to Pope or enthroned as the Archbishop of Canterbury or appointed Chief Rabbi in Britain. Are religions unfair to women? Professor Francesca Stavrakopoulou, Theology and Religion, Exeter University. The very person. Now, looking at the scriptures, how do they portray women in general? Has there been a bit of cutting and pasting by men?
Cutting and pasting by men.
Really, I think the way in which women tend to be portrayed in the scriptures, both Hebrew Bible, Old Testament and New, is that women are always defined in terms of their relationship to men, whether they're a wife, a mother, or a sister, or a daughter. That's always the way in which women are defined.
Mm.
And they're basically seen as, well, women aren't the main targets of the scriptures anyway. The scriptures weren't written for women. They were written by men, for men, about their very male God.
So ignored, basically.
They are baby machines.
Oh gosh.
They're celebrated in terms of their bringing in new life, perpetuation of the generations. There's probably only one biblical book that really celebrates what it is to be a woman and a sexual being as a woman, and that's the Song of Songs or the Song of Solomon. But even in that text, it's very much written from the point of view of a male writer and the voyeur's gaze looking at this sexy woman.
It's quite erotic.
Already, this lady here, she's a Bible scholar, and she's doing some fantastic work. She said, look, the Bible is not even, they don't care about women in the Bible. Only 2 books are dedicated to women in the Bible. And I think that was just an afterthought. They must have thought, oh, you know what? So we don't look like we're too, it's all about the men. Let's just add, even, hang on a second, what am I even about? The books are named after women, but written by men. So, already the scriptures are already problematic. To even think that women have a stand a chance in religion, it's, look, I think we in 2021 is fair to say, and this is in England, by the way, this is in the UK, where these questions are being asked. So you can imagine other parts of the world, what happens.
Very erotic.
Yeah. But has some of it, when I say cutting and pasting, has some of it being
her looks can carry her a long way.
Societies to be even more, male orientated?
Some people argue that we've got conflicting views of what women are supposed to be doing in Christianity. So, for example, some people argue that according to the Gospels, Jesus was quite pro-women. He had women followers. Some of the earliest church leaders were quite wealthy women. On the other hand, in some of the Pauline writings, some of the letters that St. Paul was supposed to have written, he's not that keen on women. Women shouldn't be talking in church. Women should cover their heads. Women are secondary to their husbands.
Yes, I do not permit a woman to teach or have authority over a man. She must be silent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've broken that already, haven't you?
I don't think he'd like me much anyway.
Wives, submit to your husband.
So did you hear what she said? So Jesus might have been pro-women. Jesus maybe might have been pro-women. But Paul, I actually call the New Testament Gospel according to Paul, because majority of it is all written by, well, the man they call Paul. Paul, he didn't even like women at all. Women are not allowed to open their hair in public. Women are not allowed to speak in public. Women are not allowed to, all the rules. And you see, if it was back in the day, during Paul's times, all these women you're seeing here wouldn't even be sitting here. Only the men will be gathered. The women will be in the kitchen or tending to the babies, or, women have no hope at all.
And all that stuff in Christina Reese, all that stuff in Leviticus about women being unclean. Do you just skip those bits?
No, not at all. And that's the tough thing. We can't skip bits, but we have to understand when they were written and who they were written for. And as Francesco said, it was mainly written by men for men. And so what we have to do is use the understanding we have now, because since everything in the Bible, both the Old Testament and the New Testament was written, we've had the Enlightenment. We now understand reproduction in a different way. So the taboo laws in Leviticus, talking about how women had to be separate and they were literally seen as unclean when they were menstruating and after giving birth, even though the vestiges of that carry on.
Do you not find that stuff, and this is your religion, do you not find that stuff incredibly offensive?
It is offensive.
No, those are the texts.
Hang on. Women during their period. This is Christianity now. Christianity says women during the periods are unclean. This lady who's speaking, did you hear Nick, the man who's the anchor, asked her, are you not offended by what your religion is saying. Your religion is telling you that as a woman, because you're a woman, every month you are unclean. She's going to start giving, you will hear some very bizarre excuses that people make for religion. Religion is toxic. Religion, I tell you, sometimes I have to try and be very diplomatic because I'm on YouTube and I don't want to get into trouble. But sometimes I wish I could speak my mind. I wish I could say it as it is. But nah, you're going to hear her. There go lots of excuses made for different religions. And what really got to me when I watched this video is the different religions. All of them are represented here. Christianity, Islam, what's the other one? Judaism. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one's there as well. They're all here, present, and you will hear how really each one of them treats women.
It's the understanding the people had then, and we don't know it all now. But Nikki, what we do know now, we know enough to make the changes that we can, because Paul, he wrote as a good Jewish man in first century Palestine. If Paul were alive and here today, he was absolutely passionate about helping people to understand who Jesus was.
Mark, I see what you're saying there. Mark is saying, you're a woman, you're not permitted to speak your mind. Listen, I'm not a religious woman. I'm not a part of this religion. I am religionless. I've got no religion telling me what I can and cannot do. I'm an atheist, a proud atheist for that matter. So I don't have no religion telling me I cannot speak. So Mark, let me tell you, I will speak. I will speak, and nobody will tell me to shut up. Nobody. Let me see what's happening in the chat. Dr. Cyrus, hello. Doomva, hello. Tom, I see you. BBC, listen, me, I don't really know much about what goes on with all these TV channels. I hardly watch television. But when I was asked if I wanted to be on the show, the big questions, I thought, oh, why not? So I went. So if you want to see me on television, just look for the big questions, BBC, on the 14th of February 2021. So
who he saw as the Christ, the Messiah.
So he'd be different now.
If Paul were here in Britain today, he would be scolding the Church of England, my beloved church, that still discriminates against women. And he was saying, our mission, we are in a...
Did you guys hear her? That if Paul was present in today, he would be scolding the Church of England, her beloved religion, her beloved church. Because in the Church of England, however liberal you think the Church of England are, women can still not be bishops in the Church of England. People still go to church knowing they will still follow the religion, knowing that their religion does not support them being women, does not support their position as a woman, but they will still go. And I would not be surprised by the time I'm done with this live stream, you'll see people come in my chat. Don't say this about my religion. You find it's the women. They'll be the ones, the women support this. Your religion puts you down. Your religion rubbishes you. Your religion tells you are nothing. It's not me. It's nothing to do with me. You're going to hear people from look at her, supporting what her religion is saying. She knows her Church of England is no good, but here she's the head of council. Something, I don't know what she's the head of something. It's terrible.
Culture, we don't see women the way we used to see women anymore, as property of their fathers or their husbands. Go out, allow women to be bishops and in.
Do you think Paul would be saying all that stuff now?
I have to confess, I don't think he probably would. I think he was pretty much, there was no sense of two genders in the ancient world. Women were often seen, particularly in these ancient Jewish and ancient Christian societies, as a deviant form of a man. And I think Paul would find that very hard to let go of.
But Paul, there were two sides of Paul. Paul,
There were two sides of
locked into
Paul.
his understanding, and he was doing the best he could with his understanding. And the transcendent Paul, who could write how we're all members of the same body, and anyone who is baptized into Christ places their faith. Are absolutely all the old barriers are broken.
They're not going to have it all their own way. Don't worry. Liz, I want you to tell us about Eve.
Okay,
Eve.
Eve.
So,
Eve,
whether you
the
take it as
mother of
literal or,
Christianity. Oh, right, no, the
figurative,
mother of the world.
Eve was the first woman, and basically she was created to be Adam's helper. And it's very important that she was created, and it says very clearly in Genesis, that both male and female were created in the image of God.
That's Genesis 2 or Genesis 1? Which
This is 2,
Genesis
I think.
1.
Is it 1? 1. Okay, these people know better than I do.
1, they're created together. Genesis 2, they're
Male
created
and
as a
female,
helper.
that they are
Creation
created.
stories. One's equal and one's as a help.
Yeah.
And but a helper is equal, and this is where the interesting debate comes in. But anyway, because
A helper is
Eve,
equal.
whether that's a literal,
Nah, lady, you don't know what you're talking about. A helper is equal. Nah, man. Because you're in the UK, you can say what you're saying. Try going to Africa, where the men don't believe that the woman is the equal, and they will quote the Bible. The man is the head. The woman is beneath, while the man is the head. You can say this because you're here sitting in the UK. You can, but no, I disagree. According to Christianity, the man is the head. There's no equals. They're not equals.
or figurative, was taken from Adam's rib, which is from the side, not from the head, not
Oh,
from
yes,
the feet.
Michaela.
So not to rule and not
Nobody.
to be oppressed, but from the side to be an equal partner in life. And so Eve was Adam's partner, but God also did say that Adam was first and Eve was to be his helper. And then in the fall, which is when sin entered the world, that was turned on its head. So it was meant to be God ruling people and people ruling creation. And in the fall, you have the serpent tempting and leading Eve, the woman, astray, and then her leading her husband, Adam. Wasn't fault. Adam should have said no.
Yeah.
He could have said no.
Yeah.
He chose to follow Eve, and in so doing,
So
he
basically,
said, I know
it was
better than
Eve's
God.
fault.
Unfortunately, Sue, what you're
According
saying,
to
I know
Christianity.
better
Women
than
can't be
God.
leaders.
Yeah, it goes back to, so that passage you read out from 1 Timothy, if you look what carries on, it actually refers back to Adam and Eve.
And if they do become leaders in the church or elsewhere, you think there are potential problems?
There are potential problems, yeah. I mean, particularly on the issue of bishops that you mentioned earlier. So the Church of England is doing its absolute best to be inclusive, to avoid division. And that's a fantastic thing, because we are called to unity.
The Church of England is doing its absolute best to be inclusive. But can women be bishops? I don't know now. This video is old, so I don't know now what the procedure is now, what the policies are now. But you can't say that your church is inclusive when women are left out. Come on, that's not something you can say. Those two words can't sit side by side with our church is inclusive, but nah, you're either inclusive or you're not.
And this is a secondary issue. I'm not saying the people who disagree are not Christians, but as a
there is always a
layperson,
but.
I can make this decision. I can choose to go to a church with a male vicar or a female vicar, and I have that freedom of choice. If you are a male vicar who has doctrinal reasons why you're not happy to have a woman in leadership over you because you believe and hold firm to those teachings, that is where the problem's coming in.
I understand.
And it needs to be a compromise.
So you believe as God is head of Christ, so man is head of woman. And what about something like a woman prime minister? Might there be problems there as well?
So there's no prohibition, because the Bible's only referring to marriage and church.
But there could be a problem.
But there could be a problem because you've got to ask about the dynamic of that relationship, with her husband. When she goes home, if she's been ruling the country, does her husband, is he still head of that marriage? And
But this is where it this is where it falls to pieces.
Can I bring in
We're the whole human beings.
Look, we've got 6 angry people over here.
Yeah, of course. People are angry.
We've got plenty of time.
Basically, religion says you cannot be the head. And if by any chance you make it to becoming prime minister, the chances are you cannot be the head in your you probably want to rule in your home, and you cannot rule at home. You can't be the head at home. So this is Christianity, guys. You wait. You're still going to hear from that. I love this program because there are atheists there. Oh, fantastic. There's the Muslims there. There are, my thing is this. All religions are seated. Everybody's going to have their own voice. The fact that different religions believe different things, is that not enough to say, look, to hell with religions? Put them in the dustbin. We don't need this.
We've got plenty of time.
We're Muslim ones in Bangladesh.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, the Muslim.
Just a quick point of information.
Sri Lanka.
Women have 2 X chromosomes, and the Y chromosome is a mutation. If only they'd known that at the time, they might have written a different story.
in terms of physical side, everyone's sort of in the womb, they're all female and they become male.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Well, we were talking about prime ministers, so the obvious thing to say is we've just lost Lady Thatcher.
This was about 8 years ago.
That she wasn't supposed to be in a position of leadership.
I didn't actually say that.
You see?
That wasn't the case.
So Margaret Thatcher should not have been in a place of position, according to this lady's religion. So that is the Christian religion. Let's carry on.
But she said when Lady Thatcher got home, there might have been problems in the marriage.
And I said there's no prohibition, there's absolutely no problem. I don't personally have any problem with women holding positions of responsibility any level. I'm just saying it might potentially cause tensions. If it doesn't for her, then that's brilliant.
But when she went to speak to the Church of Scotland, as somebody who'd been raised a Methodist, essentially you would have said, sorry, Prime Minister, you cannot address the Church of Scotland because you're a woman.
Because you're a woman.
I don't know about what happened at that meeting. What we're talking about is teaching the word of God. Anything else?
No, your interpretation of the word.
It's about church. It's about church and it's about marriage, and that's very clearly what the Bible's talking about.
Dr. Cyrus, it's called the big questions. The big question. The big questions. Hang on, let me have a quick go down here. This is a special program from King Edward Hansford School in Birmingham with Nikki. Hang on 1 second. Nikki Campbell. The big questions. Yeah, the big questions.
Vicky.
Yeah, I wonder, because I would say that your interpretation of male and female roles actually really undersells what the resurrection of Jesus Christ accomplished. My view of it is so much
resurrection
bigger
of
than the view that you're
Jesus.
selling. I am a real fan of the verse, and I want to ask you what your interpretation of this. Galatians 3:28 says, "There is neither male nor female, Greek nor Jew, slave nor free. The resurrection of Jesus has done away with these old divisions." So for me, I would look at all of the divisions that you're putting up, and I would say, actually, if the resurrection isn't enough to cancel out those barriers, then what has it accomplished?
It's a great verse you bring up. Brilliant verse.
Guys, can you see what's happening here? These are 2 Christian people. And this is the problem I have with Christianity. Christianity cannot agree. On the one hand, women cannot do this. And on the other hand, when Jesus Christ arose, everybody is now equal. You can look, Christianity is a mess, hot mess. They cannot agree. Look at 2 Christians now having a go at each other about the roles of women. Ridiculous.
But it's not, you're twisting its meaning. So actually, that's what verse is
Okay, now
talking about.
she's twisting the meaning.
Slave or free.
It's talking about salvation.
Can I just say, Liz, that's not the first time I've heard that phrase on this programme. You're twisting its meaning.
So what that passage is talking about is our salvation. So in Jesus' death and resurrection, every
Here we
single
go with the
person is
twisting.
equally saved. There is no difference in the amount that we're saved. But that doesn't mean that we're no longer
it's not
different.
enough.
No, it's completely enough.
How come we couldn't fix that delineation between Adam and Eve? Because that was the fall, wasn't it? So prior to that,
So before
Is there
the
headship
fall,
in heaven? Do males in heaven then remain?
You know, I don't know.
is it on your
Very
logic?
interesting question. I don't know the answer to.
Nikki, headship is a concept that doesn't even appear in the Bible. There is no word headship in the Bible at all. You can look, it's not there.
Oh, really?
It's an accretion that is put on by Paul using the word head.
Biblical expert beside you.
Head, phale,
Francesca?
and it has ambiguous meanings. We don't know what it meant. Paul was trying to have order and his understanding, and he even said himself that there are some things that he appeals to nature about, like men having short hair and women having long hair and things like that.
Oh, gosh,
and
not
he always
hair.
finished those passages by saying, "Nevertheless, I say to you, in Christ, you are both under Christ."
Very quickly, Francesca.
Oh, my goodness.
Headship in
Guys. Hello everyone in the chat. Sagacious sugar. But you know who I'm talking about. Sagacious apotheosis, BLM. Ox, hello. So Christians are having a go at each other. Christians are saying, on the one hand, this is what it's supposed to mean. On the other hand, it's supposed to mean this way. Okay, so what do you want us to think of your religion when you people cannot even agree on simple doctrines? Simple doctrines you can't agree on. So why should I, you people are just a joke. Christianity is a joke. How can I take you people seriously when you cannot even come together and agree on doctrines?
the Bible.
Not in that term, no, but what it's doing is drawing on the idea that in the Old Testament, idolatrous, rebellious Israelites were the adulterous wife of God. In the New Testament writers, particularly Paul, are drawing on that Old Testament image, if you like, and transferring to say that the church is the wife of God. But because it's the wife of God, it has to be obedient. It's all about obedience.
Well, that's St. Tertullian and St. Augustine and St. Thomas Aquinas all said after Eve that women were in some way defective. So those writers. 1 second, I want to bring the rabbi in.
Okay, now this is the rabbi.
But we're going to follow.
Jewish.
Now
you're shaking my hand, but you wouldn't shake our female researcher's hand this morning. Why not?
That's correct.
Why not?
That's correct.
Why not?
Really?
Because Judaism sees we don't have a problem with separate roles. There's such a thing.
Okay, did you guys hear that question? He said, "You're shaking my hand." So this man, Rabbi Shmuel Akush, whatever, shook his hand, but refused to shake the hand of the female researcher. This rabbi, so already, before even coming on the program, he can't even shake the woman's hand. So whatever religion he's in, this is the Jewish religion. The man cannot, I don't know, he's about to tell us why. So, we heard from the Christians. The Christians are a hot mess. Now we're hearing from the Jewish people. Already, before he even opens his mouth, his actions have already spoken for him. He couldn't even shake the woman researcher's hand. Ridiculous.
Called collaborative. And I'm afraid the debate so far.
But she put her hand out to shake your hand, and you wouldn't shake her hand.
And I said that that's not something I do.
Why not?
Because I don't touch those things that don't belong to me.
Oh my!
That doesn't belong to you.
This is something that
I don't touch those things that don't belong to me. They asked him, "Why wouldn't you touch the lady's hand?" He said, "I don't touch those things." Referred to her as a thing.
This is something which I've been taught from a very young age.
Do I belong to you?
I respect a woman, and as such, I won't touch her
but you don't
flesh
respect
to
Nikki.
flesh.
If you just touched Nikki, so you're saying you don't respect
I don't have an issue of that. You might have, going on the previous debate. You might have a problem with that, but we don't. I don't have a problem shaking a man's hand.
But you have a
shaking
problem
a
shaking a
woman's
woman's
hand, it could be misconstrued, and by many, would be taken.
Misconstrued. I don't know.
Misconstrued as
Who's
what?
doing the interviewing here?
Well, it's a discussion
It
program.
would be taken. It could be taken as an affront. So that's my
Well,
answer.
she might take it as an affront that you didn't want to shake her hand.
Well, I said
Exactly.
that that's my sensitivity,
All right,
and
okay.
that's the way.
Is it because she might be menstruating?
Nothing to do. With
Nothing to do with that.
She might be menstruating.
A lot of the
Yes.
time when,
I'll be back to you in a
for
minute.
example,
Yeah.
in other faiths, like in Islam, the shaking of the hand it's more to do with like steps, right? So if you shook a woman's hand or a male's hand or vice versa, that's one step. So in Islam, it's about prevention. So it's not shaking
Prevention?
the hand. It's like they have different rules. So for example, you shouldn't
Oh my-
necessarily, if you don't have a lawful particular.
Okay, so this lady has converted from Christianity to Islam. She's about to tell us in Islam there are rules. The rabbi refused to shake a woman's hand. And she's about to tell us also in Islam why they wouldn't shake a woman's hand and what is the rationale behind that. So women, unfortunately, you look, guys, religion it's terrible. And I really love this program because you have the Abrahamic religions all seated here telling us what are the treatment of women in their religions. Look, okay, let's hear her.
Reason to be alone in a room with a man, or you shouldn't embrace men. So these are all different steps to prevent things from
We'll come to
happening.
that. We'll come to Islam shortly. I want to ask you, sir, about the prayer, Rabbi. Tell us about this prayer that Orthodox Jewish men say every morning. Blessed be God, King of the universe, that thou hast not made me a woman.
What?
Judaism.
Oh my goodness. The men in Judaism wake up every morning and say, Blessed be God, for thou hast not made me a woman. You people can go and fuck yourselves, honestly. Excuse my language. This is ridiculous. This is the men in Judaism wake up every morning and say, Blessed art thou, God. Or what did he say? Just 1 second. Let me just rewind that a quick second. What did he say?
Rabbi, tell us about this prayer that Orthodox Jewish men say every morning. Blessed be God, King of the universe, that thou hast not made me a woman.
What?
Judaism presents a view of creation, Adam and Eve. I'm just going back to that for a minute as a preamble to help answer your question.
Right.
When Adam was created, so was Eve, and according to many traditions, they were actually joined back to back.
Guys, if you need to say anything to me, because I can't really see the chat, I can only look on my phone. So just at me, just put the @ sign, and then I can see it comes up. So Dr. Osiris says, what gets me the most is that I'm diagnosed with schizophrenia and I've had my fair share of delusions, yet these people make me look completely sane by any standards. First of all, Dr. Osiris, my heart goes out to you. Mental health, it's real and people are going through stuff. And I appreciate you for sharing that. But let me tell you, listen, mental health disease, you can't help that, Dr. Osiris. You can't, you didn't choose that. It happened to you. And now you're dealing with it. But these people are deliberately choosing to worship these gods that tell them this, they are deliberately choosing to be delusional. So that you can't compare the two things. And you are right. This is just out there. Guys. Ox says, humanity said a bad word. Welcome to the dark side. Ox, you can't hear things like this and not get, irate. Makes you irate. The men wake up every morning in Judaism Thank you, God, for not making me a woman. What's wrong with these people?
They were then separated. So the clear Jewish traditional view of the roles of men and women are as absolute equals and as collaborative equals. Because when a man and a woman come together, then they become a whole. And that's the whole pattern that's created in Jewish law and Jewish thought. So a man says, I'm happy, I've been created the way I am as a man, even though as a man, it has its downsides, inverted commas. A woman says, I'm happy I'm being created as a woman. And, you know, to say, to try and give a Hebrew Bible, to use Christian nomenclature, the Old Testament view of women as being the underdogs, there were women prophetesses, there were the matriarchs. I mean, the woman's role is as much as
But why
men,
then? This is important. This is important. Why then, if a woman has a boy child, she's unclean for 33 days. When she has a girl child, she's unclean for 66
Oh
days.
no! Oh no, man! So in Judaism, when a woman gives birth to a boy child, she's unclean for 30 days. When she gives birth to a girl child, she's unclean for 60 how many days? Why? Why? Come on, man. Religion is toxic. And listen, guys, I will swear a lot. I'm afraid. I'm sorry. How can people choose these religions? He wouldn't shake a woman's hand. Now women are unclean. So if you're a woman, every month, if you're a woman and you've got ovaries, because some women don't have ovaries. If you're a woman and you have ovaries, every month you are unclean. You are dirty. That's what it means. And women will still stand up for these religions. Every month you are dirty and filthy according to these people's God and religion.
This is because you're dealing there. When you talk about unclean, doesn't mean dirty.
What does it mean?
You're talking about a
unclean.
No, because that's what people you use.
What
the,
it means,
you use
it's
the,
ritually
you use the
impure.
expression, the Hebrew word. You use the Hebrew word tameh, which means it's translated in English as unclean, but it has a context to it.
What
the
is
context is within temple time society. If, for example, you trod on a creepy crawly, you would become unclean. That's tameh. So it's within that context. There are those things that render one tameh and those things that don't.
Why are you rendered less tameh if you have a boy than more tameh if you have a girl?
Good question.
I don't know the answer to that.
There is no other explanation
Do you know the answer,
whatsoever
Francesca?
than unclean means. For unclean, impure, and I'm sure Francesca will know.
Francesca?
The reason is...
Sorry, you said that very categorically.
The reason...
I spend about maybe 10 hours a day studying the sources. I'm very interested in your categorical statement, which clearly runs contrary to everything I understand. Could you please explain it?
Okay, guys, see what's happening here. The Christians are going at the Jews. Then the religions, they start to clash. Dr. Osiris says, no need to apologize. Is these despicable people who should be apologizing to society? You're having a natural reaction that they seem incapable of. It shows your humanity. Thank you. I appreciate that. Is the same Jews that these Jews that believe in sucking on a boy's when a boy has had his what you call it now, when he's been circumcised, the rabbi has to go and suck the blood off. The children have caught herpes, and when you catch herpes, you have herpes for life. Children have caught herpes because of people's religious beliefs. It's crazy.
Francesca, you studied this area.
I don't spend that same amount of time, but in my reading of the Torah and understanding, how else is when men and women commit sins, it takes exactly twice as long for the woman to become pure and clean again than it does for the man.
Really?
And Nikki talked about 33 days after a born child,
What sin?
and then 60. In Leviticus, don't look confused. It's in there.
What
it's
sins? Please tell me.
a wide variety of sins. Wide variety of sins.
Guys, did you hear her? So in Leviticus, it talks about, so the same sin. It takes a woman longer to be clean than it takes for a man. Same sin. No, guys, keep religion far away from me. I don't care what religion it is. I don't care what name you call it. Christianity, Islam, Judaism, just keep them far away from me. I didn't choose to be born a woman. According to these religions, because I'm a woman, I'm already, I'm already I'm already discriminated against. Keep your religions. At least without a religion, I don't have to do any of this rubbish they're talking about.
And then,
what about the double standards on blood that you've spoken about,
standards.
Francesca? The double standard on blood. What do you mean by that?
There's a double standard on blood regulations in Torah, and it's based on male and female. So when a woman gives birth to a male child, that male child is circumcised on the 8th day. The blood of the circumcised penis, so male circumcision blood, in a way hastens her impurity process. So she's only impure for a shorter amount of time, 33 days. Whereas if she has a female child, there's no penis to circumcise, so therefore she stays impure for longer. What it comes down to is that the blood of animal sacrifice and the blood of the male circumcised penis is pretty much, it's holy. Female blood, whether it's menstruation, whether it's the blood of childbirth, is unholy.
Oh my goodness. Women, female blood, whether it is circumcision, whether it is childbirth, whether it is your cycle, you're considered unholy. Women, I need women to listen. If you're a woman, Christian, Muslim, Jew, your religion hates you. Hates you.
Can I say it again? I mean, that is a very particular construction placed on verses which are taken out of context.
Excuses.
And let me give you a very clear and easy understanding of that.
A difficult understanding would be fine. I'm sure I can cope with that.
Just
by the way,
nowadays,
that lady,
the
she's an
restrictions
atheist.
which apply to temple sacrifice don't apply anymore, but circumcision does. So to try and draw a comparison between the blood of circumcision, which we don't make a great big deal out of.
But you make a deal of Passover, you make a deal of the female role in Passover, it's the same thing. Again, it's picking and choosing, I'm afraid.
No, it's not. Nowadays, there is no blood involved in sacrifice. It's not there anymore. So the comparison between
circumcision
and between the laws
and women being socially displaced while they're menstruating is still an important part of Judaism.
What's that called again? There's a name for that, isn't there? It's niddah. Why are women? Do they have to be removed when they're menstruating?
No.
I wish I could be removed while I was menstruating. In fact, yeah, I was saying, if you don't mind me saying, something about Samaritan women whom I met. They came over to do a singing concert, Samaritan men and women in London, and it was quite amazing. They have this 3,000-year-old singing tradition. When they start to sing, your mind's blown away. It's incredible. So I was very interested to hear about their traditions. And they have very, very, very low divorce rates. Because I was interested, what does this impurity mean, this ritual impurity? I had my mind open to the fact that it might mean something helpful, hopefully. And then what they said was, was the women were saying it's so fantastic. When we're menstruating, we've got a special little flat. We stay there, we read, we pray. The husbands do all the work, look after the
like a
children,
spa
do
day.
everything. I'm like, I like this view of I'm clean. I'm going to ring a bell this time next month.
So
And
how's
I'm
it
just
going?
going to stay out of the way of everyone else and have a better life.
Kate, as
Yeah,
an
because
avowed
the
atheist, what
woman
do you
is
make of all this?
unclean.
Well, I'm appalled, Nikki. I'm genuinely appalled and horrified. Oh, I've got.
Which bit?
I've got the whole,
I am
everything,
appalled.
everything.
I am
We've
like
got This
you.
whole pile of people arguing, bickering, frankly,
Yes.
about what various verses in various books mean. I can't help thinking these deities you're so enthusiastic about should have written a bit more clearly. And in the meanwhile,
Oh my goodness. Let me clap for that lady. Can you hear the religions bickering and having a go at each other? What your religious book says and what it doesn't say? Huh? Your God should have done a better job of writing your books better. That's what she said. Your deities should have written your books better. That way, you people will not be arguing amongst yourselves. It's ridiculous. Ox, your wife is a Christian. Oh my goodness. Oh, I was a Christian before. Wow. Listen. Guys, I'm going to put the link in the chat. I don't want to just carry on just yapping away and getting angry all by myself. If you want to come and join me, let's talk about this, please. Go ahead and join me, because listen, I can't do this by myself. I can't be getting angry by myself. It's ridiculous. No, man. Religion. No, there's nothing anyone can tell me about religion. Nothing anyone can tell me. I'm not interested. Keep your religion in your pocket. I'm not interested. No, thank you. So if anybody wants to join me, just click on the link and let's get into this. Ox, her belief is a personal one between her and her God, no church or Bible. A mental belief. Well, that's true. Some people, Mark says, but you get angry so well. Oh my goodness. Hey, Michaela.
Girl.
Michaela.
Girl.
Michaela.
I'm like, I'm girl.
According to these religions, me and you, we are dirty, filthy beings.
And religion can go to hell. How about that?
It can.
Right in hell. What kind of foolishness is this? You know what? I'm like, if I had no reason before this, and I had plenty, but if I had no reason I'm like, for religion to get away from me, I now have more than enough reasons.
Listen, Michaela,
end of discussion.
Michaela, your internet is cutting out. But let me tell you, we're just about halfway.
What about now?
Yeah, much better now. We're just about halfway, getting up to halfway of this video. You haven't heard the best yet. The Islamic people have not spoken yet. The
oh my people, God, and that's gonna be a mess.
They haven't. Even Buddhists, they're Buddhists in sitting here. Buddhists are going to speak. Other people, other religions are going to speak. So you can get.
So all of these religions, I'm almost willing, are misogynistic and hate women for absolutely no reason than being women, right? It's the idea that like a woman is unclean for 60 days compared to 30 days. I'm like,
66 days.
66 days.
For giving
having
birth
to a female.
To a baby girl. Oh, Lord.
To a baby girl. I'm like, to a baby, she is unclean. And if that doesn't sound like misogyny to me, I'm like, it reeks of it. And then it's the male rabbi trying to, quite frankly, excuse the ideas that come from this religion. Religion is not for women. Okay, women need to leave this stuff alone. I'm like, and I will continue to say, religion only benefits cishet white men. And
Exactly.
it's the only group of people it benefits. And they use it as a form of control to control minorities, women being included in that. I'm like, it's rubbish and it's
Exactly.
disgusting.
Listen, let me play a bit more of this. There's still a bit more to go.
Oh, I'm
And
like, wait, girl, you had me throwing my wig across the. I could not.
let me tell you, when I watched this thing, I was glued. I was thinking, look, I wish I could get into the studio and just scream on the top of my voice. Can you people hear yourselves speaking? Your religions are evil. Christianity is evil. Islam is evil. Judaism,
And people don't think it
evil.
is. And
It
people
is.
don't think it is.
If I
That's the
haven't said it,
crazy part.
if I haven't said it before, I'm saying it now. Pure evil.
And this is why I will always be for the abolishment of religions. And I will
Yes.
continue to advocate for that. Because until we abolish religion, humanity can't progress. Equal rights are at stake. Women's rights to have a full body autonomy will always be at stake.
It will be.
I'm like, this is not a joke, ladies. This is
It
not.
is. It
Your
isn't.
rights, your humanity, and your rights to exist as people are at stake. Because religion, I'm like, because people try to use freedom of religion to justify why it is okay to make you a second-class citizen.
Slave. Like a slave.
Right.
People go to churches, they're slaves. They go to the mosque, they're slaves. They go to their temples. You are a slave. You are enslaved to your religion. And for the Christians that believe that Jesus Christ died for you, the fact that you rejoice in the death of an entity had to die for you, that's pure cruelty. You are cruel to expect.
I'm like, and not only had to die, but I'm like, but was tortured in the process.
Listen, Michaela, let's carry on so that we don't waste people's time.
Let's get into it.
Let's carry on. So,
If we look at the real world, there are thousands of women, millions of women all around the world who, as a result of religion, are being denied the right to vote, being denied the right to drive, being denied the right to leave the house and get the job that they want. Young girls having their clitorises removed unsafely, unsanitary conditions, women being killed, women having their lives ruined. And we're sat here bickering about what verses mean. The reality is, religion, just look at the real world. Religion is incredibly damaging to women.
Damaging. Absolutely damaging.
I have to say, as a man, I'll go so far with you, Kate, but not the whole way. Religion is not doing that to women. Men are.
Okay. So he said religion is not doing it. Men are. But men are using the religion to do these things to people.
Yes, they are. Let's
And they're getting away with
whether you think it's fictional or not, and I don't.
Hey, Bar is in the chat. I can see Bar in there. The link is there. If anybody wants to join in on the conversation, it's ridiculous.
Bar, come in. Come on.
It said religion is not doing this, but they're using the tool.
Yes, it is. People are using religious ideas to oppose it. It is religion. It absolutely is. Women's rights are at stake globally. Misogyny is a global phenomenon.
Michaela, you say women's rights are at stake. Women's rights have always been at stake. Always.
Yes, it has for a millennium. But when does it come to an end?
Well, that's the thing. When does it come to an end? For me, it has come to an end. because I walked away. I'm not guided by all these things you're
Yes,
hearing.
I'm like, and
Don't
I'm not guided
don't
by it
apply
either.
to
But the
you
idea,
don't
I'm like, but Miss Esther, the idea is that people are using religion to try to justify why these things are acceptable. Do you know that in
mm.
several states in the United States, a right for women to have an abortion has been taken away in several states? That means I'm like, and I just heard a story about an 11-year-old girl who like got pregnant by her rapist. And she was
Oh
forced.
no.
Both her and the unborn child were died.
Hey,
I'm like
hello.
died, and I'm like in labor because I'm like 11-year-old's body is not made for childbirth,
11 years
and
old.
people justified it because I'm like, and people, and she had no right to have an abortion by the law
Oh
in Ohio.
gosh.
This is
Oh no.
sick. She was
How y'all
forced to care. She was forced to give birth to a rapist's baby, and
Oh
I'm like,
my
and she lost her
goodness.
life in the process.
can
Oh
can
no.
can y'all hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you,
Yes.
Bar.
Hey, hey,
Hey.
hey, Michaela.
Hi, Bar.
African Humanist, how you doing?
I'm good. I am good. I'm glad to have you here. Listen, we're talking about women's rights in religion, and let me tell you, listen, Bar,
This is a
no, no,
global issue.
no,
This is
That
it's
like a
sick.
that don't
it's
go
not
together
good.
though. Women's
It's
rights
not good.
and religion, that don't go together.
Not at all.
Nate
Not at all.
Jordan.
It's
No.
ridiculous. So I'm just watching this video and let's carry on. Oh
Unless you're
my
a
God.
cishet white male, this is not for you.
No.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Let's look at it in the broadest context. It's men using religion to oppress women. This has been happening throughout human history, but we
Yes, and
have to
let's
put it in
stop
that
it,
context
which is why
and not
it's
say that
so-
only religion is doing
Francesca?
this.
But this is why it's so appalling. It makes me feel, I mean, I do feel quite upset when I was listening to you talk because we already have enough men trying to keep women down in this world, and yet you're supporting this.
Exactly.
How do you do that?
Absolutely.
Because the Bible is very clear.
We have some
Hello.
hands up. Before we move on to talk to our Muslim guest.
Okay, now the Muslims are going to
A couple of
speak.
hands went up. Yes, you wanted to say
Oh
something.
God.
First, please.
Yes, I think
Okay.
the lady needs to understand that it's not the fault of the religion. As the gentleman said, it's the fault of those interpreting the religion.
We
So a clear
already know
distinction
how
needs to be
Muslims
made, and I
feel
think you
about
really
women.
need to understand that.
So it's the culture, not the religion. Yes, gentleman back there. Good morning.
That's wrong.
You gotta look at
It's
Islam.
the
Though.
religion.
Who was the first person who accepted
And that's a
Islam
bunch
was a
of
woman.
bullshit. It's the religion that
There must
affects
be a
the
bunch of the
culture.
first woman.
Right.
One of the biggest scholars of Islam was again a woman.
We're coming to
Her
that
name
right
was
now. You've
Aisha.
given us a superb
Aisha.
cue to talk
So
about that.
the first, so I look at the first person who adapted religion in Islam was a woman.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're going to
really?
talk about that
And
right now.
Catholicism, the greatest one.
So basically, he said
But
the women are the first ones to choose. So the women. So if you're a woman and you're Islamic, so that means basically you are choosing the religion that's oppressing you. It's your
That doesn't
choice.
even make sense. But Miss S, you have to realize that a lot of women, right, are brainwashed by religion as well, and even have internalized patriarchy and
True.
misogyny.
True.
So it's not surprising me that there are some women, right, who would follow this. And what I have to say to those women is, where is your self-worth, right? Where is your? I'm like, where is your?
Humanity.
Where is your self? Like, how do you feel about
Self-worth.
yourself? Where's
Self-worth.
your worth
Yeah.
as a
And
woman to follow a
let-
religion that sees you as less than human?
Let me read this comment by Mark. Mark says that should be brought up in the discussion. The fact that walking away from religion frees a woman in so many ways. That is the proof
Sure
that
does.
religion is misogynistic. Amen to that.
So
But
It
you were going
is
to say something.
misogynistic as hell, and it's not. I'm like, and misogyny is not the only thing that religion. I'm like pushes. Right, it pushes multiple forms of oppression. Right.
Mhm.
When are we going to realize how toxic and evil the concept of religion is? Right. We are living in the 21st century where we have had men on like go to different planets, have walked the moon. We are on cellular devices where we're talking up from all over the globe, but yet we're still following primitive beliefs that were written by cishet men from centuries ago who saw women as property and LGBT people as less than human beings. Make it make sense.
It doesn't make sense, unfortunately.
So okay, yeah. So this is what I don't understand. When they say people are interpreting the religion a certain way, I'm like, no, like the book literally says, like when your female slaves are not to go free like the men. Kill everybody but the little girl. Like, how do you misinterpret what the book is saying exactly?
You can't, bar. It's gaslighting, and that's what they're doing.
Michaela, your internet is bad.
Okay, check this out.
I'm sorry, Miss Esther.
Okay, it's okay.
So check this out. I want to. Okay, so we got two sentences, right? The first one is, the first sentence is, anyone who is a person, give them a hug because they may have a bad day. How can you misinterpret that sentence? Like, okay, I see someone who's in trouble, having a bad day. You give them a hug, they feel better. You can't misinterpret that sentence to go out and stab people in the stomach and shit. Okay, we got another sentence where it says, hey, those people right there, kill them. I'm misinterpreting to go out and kill them. It says kill them. Women like that right there who, you know, if we believe you're a witch, we should kill you. Am I misinterpreting what the book says?
No, it doesn't. And remember the Salem witch trials. Women were called witches and literally lost their lives. This is nothing new.
You can't like, if something is good, if something is really good or it's like a positive sentence, you can't misinterpret it. If it's see, that's another thing. The book should be more clear. Maybe if it was more clear, you wouldn't misinterpret it. Maybe if it said exactly what they mean to say, we'll be cool. It's like with the prophecy, they like, oh,
that's exactly what they mean. Exactly what they mean. We're trying to pull back, calling them out.
Michaela, you might Michaela, you might have to change location. Your internet keeps cutting out. It keeps. But then, Jesus said something. Jesus said, "I have not come to abolish the law. I have not come to do away with it. I've not come to say stop. No. I've come to fulfill it. I've come to show you this can be done." Jesus, when Jesus came, that was the time to revise the scriptures. That was the time to, tweak.
But don't they say that? But don't these same Christians also say that the law changes in the New Testament? So that in itself is a contradiction.
It is.
But see, when my thing is, because I was like, it makes your head hurt when you talk to them, because on one hand they say the book is inspired by God, and then they say, well, man got wicked and they changed the words up and man changed. I'm like, is the book inspired by the God or is it wrote by men? Make your mind like, what's going on out here?
But they know what the answer really is. It's a man-made book and it's a book full of fairy tales, but they don't want to be adult in analogy. It's the idea that I'm an adult and I believe in Santa Claus. It is the exact same thing. But I'm like, but as a 24-year-old woman, were to say I believe in Santa Claus, people would look at me crazy. But I could say that I believe in a supernatural entity, a sky daddy that loves me, but under certain conditions, and I'm seen as completely sane. How does that work?
The African humanist. I really like. I wish I could ask these people, like, what do you mean when you say they're misinterpreting the book. Like the lady in the video, I mean, I think one of them said they're misinterpreting.
Misinterpreting the book. Yes.
There are verses that are so, like, it's so specific. Like, hey, this group of people, oppress them, kill them, take them as property.
Yes.
You can't, like, I don't get how they defend this stuff when it says exactly what it says. That's what I'm.
But but when you're a religious person and someone is telling you that your book is problematic, you know, this is the book you live by on a daily basis. They're not gonna sit there and say, I agree. They're not gonna agree. No, they have to find all the excuses in the world to justify why they believe the book. So they'd rather say things like, oh, people interpret it however they please, or no, you people that are living the faith, you want to carry on sinning. That's why you're leaving. They don't want you to say, look, these are the reasons why I, as a woman, I choose to walk away from your religion. But no, they say no, because I want to go and sin. I want to go and commit sin. That's why I leave. But your religion is problematic. Your religion is full of evil. Pure evil.
When it comes to, I don't know, like, when it comes to women's rights, I'm like, okay, so in Islam, you know, it's like they have to cover. Like, how do you worship a God that wants you to cover up what he made you from head to toe? Like, this God loves me, he cares about me, but when I go in public, he wants me to cover up everything he made me to be. Like, other people can't see me. Yet like, how do you not?
But let me tell you, women will fight you to wear those things. Women,
we can't see you
in that religion, will fight you to cover their faces. They want it. That's what they want. They will fight you. Go to France. France banned France. They banned the wearing of hijabs, and I don't know what there was uproar. It was women. Women were saying, no, it's our right. We choose this life. France is giving you an opportunity to come out of your jail cells. But no. You're saying, we want our jail. We love our shackles. We don't want to be free. We choose this life. Oh Lord. I don't know. Listen. Let's carry on with this video. Hello everyone in the chat. Brainwashed willingly. Berry Girl Finn says they are brainwashed willingly, and that is it. Brainwashed. They, not just willingly, but they're deliberately choosing to be brainwashed, deliberately choosing to carry on worshiping the God that is perpetrating the evil. Listen. Okay, let's carry on with this video.
Woman in creation is Mary, and also we did a lot of
the
cutting
greatest
and
woman in
pasting.
creation is what?
Is Mary.
The greatest woman in creation is Mary.
Wait. I was going to talk about Islam now, but we just had this. The greatest woman in creation was Mary.
Oh,
you give us a little
goodness.
diversion. What do you mean?
Well, if you think of human beings, what are we aiming for? What is a human person? What is the greatest thing a human person can be?
Mary.
Is it a virgin and a mother?
The greatest thing a human person can be, that's a big question to ask, but it's the Catholic Church would say in profound communion with God, and therefore in profound communion with each other, and in profound communion with creation, and releasing and living all their talents for love. Now, the Virgin Mary is the greatest woman in creation because she listened to God,
she was
received
pure.
her.
She was pious.
She was obedient totally to receiving the gift that she was given. And when we respond to the giftedness that God gives us, we grow as people. So it is about human flourishing.
It's
and
about
when we were
obedience.
mentioning, can I just say one thing?
It's about obedience.
There's
It's about a woman being obedient to a male God and being obedient to her male
Can I just say something really
child.
clear? Because you did quite
Okay, Sarah, you finish. Sarah, finish.
You did some nice cutting and pasting before, and I wanted to add to your quote about, you said women must submit to their husbands, but straight after it said, husbands must submit to their wives in Christ. So there's a bigger picture. And no, that's not at all what it means. Why do I know that? Because when a husband submits to his wife, he has to behave, as it says in the Bible, as Christ behaved towards the church, laying down his life. There's a beautiful word to describe what Christ did, and it's the inspiration for all men. And it is kenosis, which means complete self-emptying. I'd like to see some more of that. I live with 3 priests, actually, so I have a very interesting experience, a personal experience
Sounds like
of what
a
it's
sitcom.
like. It does almost, and maybe I'll get a contract for it, but I'd quite enjoy it. But the fact is,
oh God,
oh my Lord, Miss Esther, do you see this foolishness? I know I didn't hear that.
You did. You did. You did.
I'm
Michaela,
like Christians make my head ache.
Michaela, do you want to be a Mary?
Hell no.
Mary was raped by a ghost.
A ghost. And I'm like, as a child, why would I want that?
Mary was impregnated by. Now, listen. Yesterday, I learned a new word, and the word is called demisexual. And because the person said, I'm demisexual. And I said, what's demisexual? And they said, what it means is they won't sleep with just anybody. They've got to know the person. They've got to spend time with the person. And, the two of them need to get along before she
I get that definition describes me perfectly.
Right. So she can't sleep with just anybody, right? So she's demisexual. That's what she said, right? So imagine Mary, right? Do you think she would have loved the act of being impregnated by this ghost? Do you think? Imagine if maybe Mary was demisexual. At that point in time, her preference.
But I'm like, but it's the idea that a child can consent to that. That's the illogical part. Mary was a baby. Mary was a baby. She was only like a whole baby, Miss Esther, like 12, 13 years old. And not to mention, remember that story I just told you about the 11-year-old who died recently and the unborn child because she was forced to go through a pregnancy at 11 and her and this unborn child died because a 11-year-old's body is not built to take care of labor. And I'm like, and we know grown women can barely get through that, and you're gonna force that on a child.
And I've had people come and tell me, during them times it was permissible. That was the law. People were allowed
and
to
that's
marry
even
as
worse.
young people. But your God should know better. Your God should know better. If humans didn't know better, if we were to make excuses for humans, but your God ought to know better.
Right, because they say that God is all knowing and all. So I'm like, so we should be able to hold this supernatural entity responsible. We should be able to do that. And we should not be. I'm like, it's the idea that everything good is from God, but we cannot hold this God accountable when he says that he is all knowing.
Michaela, God says he makes both good and evil. So not just the good things come from God, both good and evil come from God. He said so in the Bible. It's there in the Bible.
I'm like, okay, so at this point, nothing that happens can be claimed to be from God. Then
exactly. I'm just going to read this particular. Mark Caesar says, got to admit that spare ribs are great on the barbecue. I love me some spare ribs. I love me some spare ribs. But listen, Mark, not the kind of Bible
What happened to Bar? First of all,
it's something to do with his phone. His phone's not. I think he said his phone is playing up. Listen, me, I didn't come from the rib of nobody. I did not come from the rib
no,
of
you didn't. You
no
know what?
one.
You are a full-blown human being who has, has the right and has the ability to be able to make decisions for herself, her family,
Exactly.
and has the right to make decisions that concern her own body. And that should be
Exactly.
that should be a right that given to all women.
Oh, women.
Right. Women.
Anyway, listen,
Grown
let's carry on.
women.
Let's carry on with this video. My goodness.
I live with men who consciously do try to purify their hearts, their minds, their thoughts, and I feel extremely celebrated as a woman when I'm living with men who are undergoing a spiritual path, and I do not feel oppressed or pushed down. I feel celebrated and
But
lifted
Mary
up.
is the ultimate in human creation.
She is the ultimate in human creation because she's totally open to God.
Okay.
Well, that's
Actually, Vicky, we've not heard from Vicky.
Well, I think I would say, just to step back one point, when you talk about kenosis, I mean, I totally agree, it's a great point, but it feels like when we interpret the Bible, we have to actually go so deep in explaining it. And on a superficial, surface reading of the Bible.
Did you hear her? When you go into the Bible, you have to go so deep. What does that mean? Going deep. What does it mean? Just open the Bible, read it, and understand.
Read it for what it says.
No, you know what they mean when they say you've got to go deep and understand. It means you need to suspend your brain. You need to suspend logical reasoning. You need to be brainwashed by the contents of the book. That's what it means when they say you go deep.
Because apparently critical thinking is not something that Christians want, because with critical thinking skills, the whole Bible is now, and the whole religion now comes into question. It falls apart every single time. I've even heard Christians say that they do not want their children going to non-Christian colleges. And so it's the idea that you don't want your kids to be educated fully, right? Because you don't want your kids to question what they've been taught, right? Them having a full-blown education now puts all your teaching into question, and they know that. They know that. With education, with science, with psychology. Let's go into psychology real quick, right? If you look at psychology, the God of the Bible is a textbook narcissist.
Oh yeah, big time narcissist.
By every note, and I know most psychologists would agree with me. If you would look at the God of the Bible, it's a narcissist.
Big one. A big one.
So we're supposed to be following a narcissist to salvation.
And it doesn't end. It doesn't end here on earth, because when you die, okay, say by any chance you make it into their version of heaven,
you're praising day and night.
You're still going to worship the narcissist morning, noon, and night. Unfortunately, yeah.
And people find this stuff to be normal. That's the thing.
Let me read this comment by Berry Gelfin. Says, you will never get American Christians to admit God is the creator of good and evil. Yahweh is a textbook narcissist. Listen.
And God forbid if there are Black American Christian, Miss Esther, they'll never admit it.
It's in the Bible, though. It's why would I get you to it? It's there. It's in your scriptures.
It is. You know what kills me? American Christians.
If someone can help me in the chats, what scripture? Where is that scripture in the Bible?
But Miss Esther, remember, a lot of American Christians say that the devil is the creator of all evil. But then, who created the devil?
Hold on 1 second. Did you wash your hands? Just my son. Oh, listen. Never mind. Yeah, of course. The Bible says God is the creator of both good and evil. It's in the Bible. Listen, let's carry on with this. Otherwise, we're not gonna be done today.
I can understand why people think it's patriarchal, and yet I love the Bible. My theology is pretty similar.
What?
I do, but I think when
it's
I get to heaven, I'll be saying to God,
it is.
Do you not explain things more clearly?
Listen. I need you to listen to this lady. What she just said. She said,
I do not
It's
understand
metrical.
why people
When
why
she
the
dies and goes to heaven, she's going to ask God, why didn't you make it easier to understand? What the fuck?
Who consciously do try to purify
Just
their
listen
hearts,
to
their
her.
minds, their thoughts. And I feel extremely celebrated as a woman when I'm living with men who are undergoing a spiritual path. And I do not feel oppressed or pushed down. I feel celebrated and
But
lifted
Mary
up.
is the ultimate in human creation.
She is the ultimate in human creation because she's totally open to God.
Okay.
Well, that's
Actually, Vicky, we've not heard from Vicky.
Well, I think I would say, just to step back one point, when you talk about kenosis, I mean, I totally agree, it's a great point, but it feels like when we interpret the Bible, we have to actually go so deep in explaining it. And on a superficial surface reading of the Bible, I can understand why people think it's patriarchal. And yet I love the Bible. My theology is probably very
aspire
similar.
to be like Mary.
I do, but I think when I get to heaven, I will be saying to God, why did you not explain things more clearly? And I think it's important that we can be honest about the Bible. I respect it, I honor it, but I think it's a very difficult book. And I think some folks to actually go, no, it's black and white. It's very clear. You know, it's not anti-women.
That right there is the
but they
contradiction.
diction because they say it's
Of Christianity.
Contradiction.
She's just
it's not
admitted
black and white.
That the book is problematic.
She said it. The book is problematic, and she said it's not black and white. But what I find funny is that Christians argue that the Bible is black and white, but we're talking about anytime human rights, whether it be women's rights or even LGBTQ rights, right? These things are seen as black and white things in scripture. So to say that it's not black and white is a clear contradiction because they know it is wrong. They know they're wrong.
They know. Listen, the lady said something. When I get to heaven, I will. Lady, listen. How are you sure you're going to get to heaven? How are you sure? According to your scriptures, the scripture says it is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for, what was it? I can't even, I don't remember my scriptures 100%. But then from the way the Bible describes going to this heaven, look, it's a place that you're going to have to be very, very, you get there by a narrow, very narrow thread, very narrow. You can't just go, no, every willy-nilly cannot just enter into heaven. So lady, you are deluded. Unfortunately, this woman is deluded.
Delusional. But a woman, of course, but Miss Esther, what else do you expect from a woman who follows a patriarchal book like the Bible? It is clear delusion.
It is.
And you know what it gives? It gives very Stockholm syndrome.
It is Stockholm syndrome. Let's carry on.
It looks anti-women. Let's be honest.
It looks anti-women.
I think you're making a really important point there because before Christianity came along, it was in a particular society. The Greeks were still struggling
It looks anti-women because it is anti-women.
And Christianity said you're equal, you're dignified.
Which is great, but if you don't want to be...
It's really great, Nikki.
It's really great.
It's really great, Nikki.
I'll shake your hand.
It's great.
But listen, if a woman does not want to submit in that way and be pure and be virginal, is she a failure if she doesn't want to be like Mary?
Oh, absolutely not. You made a beautiful point about the Song of Songs being beautifully erotic. All I will say, there's one beautiful thing I've got to say, is that
you said so many beautiful things so far.
Thank you, Nikki. I love you. The beautiful thing about the Song of Songs is that reality is revealed as marital, spousal, whether you're single, married, you are living a spousal reality. It's a very deep thing, your sexuality. What is your
spousal reality?
What is your femininity?
A spousal reality.
Okay, guys, all of you, whether you're married, whether you're single, whether you're gay, straight, bi, whatever you identify as long as you're a human, you are living a spousal reality. Junva, you're living a spousal reality. Mark, you are living a spousal. Berry girlfriend, you're living a spouse. You are espoused.
I'm like, so can I write it off on my tax return? You
wish. You wish. let's hear what she means by being a.
I am living a spousal reality, Miss Esther. I want to write. I should be able to write that off.
In the Christian tradition, I mean, that sounds very good, but in the Christian tradition, as Cole has said, it's men in power using the religious institution to determine what's normal and what goes. And throughout our Christian tradition, very sadly, the cutting-edge theologians of their day saw women's sexuality not as something beautiful and to be celebrated. They were terrified
Thomas
of it.
Aquinas and
They
others,
were
yeah, yeah.
terrified.
Misogyny.
And they were terrified. I mean, Tertullian
Just the legacy of
called
Eve.
women a devil's gateway, and women were
gateway.
sewers built over. I mean, temples built over sewers, and there was an
Oh,
aristocratic
my
French abbot who told his novice monks, "When you embrace a woman, you're embracing a sack of manure."
Why? Yeah. Oh,
What?
goodness.
Miss
that's
Esther,
why.
how are we
That's
gonna
why.
get through this?
That's why that man refused to shake. Oh, sugar. When you embrace a woman, you're embracing a sack of manure. Oh.
Miss Esther, and they say this is not misogynistic at all. Make it make sense.
I think we have made it clear already that
We
all these
have,
religions
but
are misogynistic.
But we know that it's the idea that we're coming back to that because we need to call it out. That was a very misogynistic comment.
Berry Gelfin says the more she reads the Bible critically, the closer she'll be to becoming an atheist. Most regular Christians only listen to religious propaganda. If she remains honest, like I did, I was exactly the same. When you open the Bible and read that Bible, listen, you need to read it in the context that they want you to look at it, not just any propaganda, not because, and just read it in the very context that they want you to read it in.
I say this, and I say this all the time. When you read it from back from front to back, but also read it with critical thinking. Right?
Absolutely.
Read it critically. Right? Yes. I'm like, I want you to take yourself out of it and think of it scientifically, medically, psychologically. But I want you to think of this critically and tell me, does it have any basis in reality? And if you look at the Bible and look at it from that standpoint, it doesn't.
It doesn't. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Listen, how long have we been going? We're halfway done, and I don't want us to prolong this any too much. We can carry on tomorrow, same time tomorrow. But let's carry on. Let's give it another 5-10 minutes. We'll be done for today, and we can carry on tomorrow because the video is about 57 minutes long. So I don't know how much of this we can go through. It saddens me honestly.
And in the same breath, they taught other things about the Christian faith, which were actually have stood the test of time. No, but what I'm saying is that for too long in our Christian tradition, run by men, they said that to be a good Christian man, you had to divorce yourself from your sexuality. And what's the one thing they couldn't control? Sexual desire and women. So they tried to separate it out, and women were scary.
Kate was bursting to come in there.
This is an amazing point. We've talked about Mary the Virgin. We've talked about, and the truth is that major religions around the world, one of their main focuses continually seems to be to control women's bodies, access to contraception, access to abortion, all this kind of stuff.
Right.
The reality is that when you take away from women the right to control their own fertility by putting this virgin ideology on them and all these kind of religious laws, you take away their opportunity to escape poverty, to get an education, to have control over their own lives. That single cause led by major religions is the one main thing that is preventing women from leading better lives and in developing and escaping poverty and all those things.
Absolutely.
As an ex-Muslim, there were things in the Quran that you were very uncomfortable with when it came to women. What particular things?
See, she read the Quran,
for example,
and she was
chapter 4,
uncomfortable.
verse 30.
So this lady,
by men.
oh sugar, how did I get here? Oh no, man, I was halfway. That lady you just saw, walked away from Islam because she saw that the book
who obey their husbands,
was,
and they're perfectly fine.
hang on,
But it
I
talks
went a
about
bit
rebellious women, and
I
it
went a
says
bit
it
too. She walked away.
Religions is the
Wow.
one main thing that is preventing women from leading better lives and in developing and escaping poverty and all those things.
Now, Alison, good morning.
Morning.
As an ex-Muslim, there were things in the Quran that you were very uncomfortable with when it came to women. What particular things are you talking about?
For example, chapter 4, verse 34, it talks about obedient women who obey their husbands, and they're perfectly fine. But it talks about rebellious women, and it says it addresses their husband, their men, and tells them if they rebel you shouldn't sleep next to them on the same bed, and you are allowed to punish them.
You're allowed to punish them.
This word punish
grown
be
women
as whipping,
whipping,
or
lashing.
People, Muslim apologists, they call it, just a simple punishment.
You have to be in disguise, of course, because.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I come from a Muslim background, and my parents still live. I come from Iran, and my parents still live in Iran, and but the punishment for apostasy is capital punishment, as you may know. So I have to be in disguise because of my parents' security and my family.
What about surah in the Quran? Certain things. There's one, isn't there? And we'll get corrected on this, no doubt, by our Muslims over here. But
women are fields too. Go into your fields.
Women are fields. Go into your fields whichever way you like.
Yes.
What does that mean to you?
Whoa. Women are fields. Go into your fields. Oh. He said that when
it's
a woman,
disgusting.
a woman, a man, if she doesn't obey you, you can punish her, whip her. This is Islam. So we've heard from the Christians.
And the idea that they think they can control and punish grown women for having a voice is ridiculous. And the one thing that stuck out to me was she had to be in disguise because she was concerned for her family's safety at home in Iran, which because of capital punishment, which means human rights issues are a global problem. A global problem. The fact that she cannot speak out without a disguise because she is genuinely concerned for the safety of her family is astronomically insane. And the punishment for that is capital punishment.
Punishment. Listen, let me read this comment by Dr. Cyrus. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If the Bible was supposedly written by God, it wouldn't need interpretation. Otherwise,
it wouldn't need interpretation at all.
Otherwise, God isn't flawless or all powerful. Read it as it is or not at all. Guys, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to carry on, or we can finish this? We're halfway through. We can finish the video tomorrow. Same time, exact same time. I'll come on exact same time tomorrow. I can do that. Either we carry on tomorrow or we carry on today. What do you want to do? But this is triggering, though.
This is sick.
This is triggering.
It's triggering and it is sick, Miss Esther. It is sick, right? I'm like, what kills me is, what continues to kill me is, they say that there are agendas against religion. Well, quite frankly, there should be, right? Religion absolutely should be abolished worldwide.
It should.
It needs to be.
It should.
It absolutely should. This I'm like, this doesn't even make sense anymore.
It doesn't. And it just makes me so angry. I've watched this video before on my own, and it was triggering when I watch, and even now it still bothers me. It still bothers me. So what we'll do, Michaela, we'll go on for another 5 minutes and then we'll round it
Right.
up and come back tomorrow. Okay?
I'm like, all right, whatever we need to do, Miss Esther, because this is a conversation that needs to be had, right? Because, like I said, and will continue to say, women's rights are at stake worldwide. Women's ability to get access to health care is a problem
It is.
worldwide. And this is not the only problem that women are facing, right? I'm like, due to the intersection of race now involved, Black women are dying extreme rates from childbirth. All right, at higher rates than any other demographic due to
Exactly.
racial biases, and that in itself shows you that this is an issue.
It is. It is. Listen, when we'll
women are
hear
objects
what these
too.
people.
Are your
Women are
property.
objects. Women are property.
Your wives are your property. You can be however you like to them.
No, it's just talking about sexual positions. Actually, sorry to bring the tone down a little bit. It's actually at the time there was issues about men, and they used to believe that certain sexual positions were not allowed, and the Quran is just saying, actually, within sex, you are free to experiment and do. You are together. I think taking this apart from other verses in the Quran, which talk about marriage, which say that actually addresses both men and women, not men separately, which say you are from the same soul, you've been created.
Hang on. So that lady was talking about, and this lady interrupts to let her know that the scripture was talking about sexual positions. And this is my problem with religion. The gods of these people need to know what kind of sexual position you're engaging in. The gods of this religion needs to know who is on top, who is on the bottom, who is sideways, or who is, whether you're doing doggy style or you're doing cowgirl style. The gods of these religions is so invested.
And first of all, Berry Girl is saying
That
some great things. So I want to know why she's not up here, first of all.
No, the gods of these religions is so invested in sexual positions that he has to put them inside the holy book.
Right.
Very girl.
I'm like, and apparently that's not inspired by God, but at other points saying that is written by a man.
Very
So
girlfriend, you got sorry to interrupt you. Maybe tomorrow. She said, maybe next time. She can join us tomorrow. Oh my
yes,
goodness.
girl, come on. You're
Listen,
offering a lot of great things.
Dr. Cyrus says, I'm never allowed on top or bottom. Dr. Cyrus, I've got a video on my channel where a pastor was saying, I don't know whether he's a pastor or what. He said he got a vision from God. God sent him to tell the people that men and women, if the man allows the woman to come on top of him, both of them are going to hell. So, Dr. Cyrus, I don't know what kind of sexual position you engage in, but according to that man, if you're not on top, unfortunately, it's a one-way ticket to his hell.
I'm like, but I find it more comfortable riding. I'm not gonna lie, but that's neither here nor there.
No, but hang on. What does anybody's sexual position have to do with a god? Your god. Why is your god so invested in your sexual positions? Come on.
I'm like Miss Esther.
Why?
Are you forgetting that it's hypocritical? Because remember, these are the same people that say their holy books are inspired by a supernatural entity. But at the same time, when we confront them on that and blame, I'm like, a whole their supernatural entity accountable for the things that are in this book, they say it is man written. So at this point, which one is it? You can't pick and choose when it is man written and when it is inspired by God, right? And that's very much what it comes down to. Now, coming down to the sexual positions part, right? Like you said, why is a supernatural entity concerned about what a couple is doing within their own bedroom and the positions that they're using in the bedroom, right? That doesn't make sense to me either, right? And it doesn't make sense to any logical thinking adult, right? Because contrary to popular belief, you could do whatever you want in your own bedroom.
Exactly.
You have, I'm like, and as long as it's consensual and the two parties have agreed on it, you should be able to explore sexually in any way that you please.
No, but Michaela, listen. When you say two parties, that means you're only reducing sex to only two people. 3 people.
That is true.
4 people. 6 people can come together.
I'm like, it doesn't matter how many people. It doesn't matter how many people, girl. It doesn't matter how many girl. Is it consensual though?
It has to be consensual. That's priority.
Is it consensual or not? That is the most important thing. Now, me,
sex doesn't have to be.
I ain't gonna be in no, and I cannot. I'm not gonna be in no 6 or like 3 or 4 some, because this thing with me is I am very greedy and I don't want to share, so I'm not going to.
All right. Even one person can have sex. Just one person on their
How
own.
can I'm like, you mean with yourself?
Listen, that's for another live stream.
I'm like, listen, we're getting into the African humanist after dark.
That's another live
We're
stream.
getting, I'm like, listen, we gotta do that. We have to have African humanists after dark, honey. Cause
okay. Listen,
one of these
we'll round up. We'll read a few comments and then we'll be done for tonight.
Yeah.
But we'll carry on from this particular spot tomorrow, where they're talking about the Quran is talking about sexual positions. Michaela, don't laugh.
I am laughing because this is really turned to the African humanist after dark.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so Dr. Cyrus says, damn, I have such a pathetic life. I genuinely can't remember the last time I had sex, at least 16 years ago. Well, you're not the only one who hasn't had sex in a long time. You're not the only one. I'm in the same boat as you, but 16 years? Oh my goodness. Not that long for me. But
I'm like, how are you not scratching at the walls, honey?
16 years, that's a long time.
16, I'm like, I hope you have a good vibrator along your side of your bed. Now let's get into the video.
Listen, but in my opinion, you're not missing out on anything.
Half of these men don't know what they're doing anyway.
Sex is a bit too overrated. You can do without it, but you know.
But you can do without it. But why do you want to?
Listen, we'll talk about this another time.
Yeah. Girl.
Mark Caesar says it might be invested in sexual position, but it has never come up with any good ideas. Number one, curing cancer. How about cure cancer and not be too invested in what?
Well, honey, you can't cure cancer because religion itself is a cancer, honey.
Okay, all right, okay. Listen, Michaela, listen. You hit the nail on the head. I've never tried sex on a crucifix. Maybe that would work on a crucifix.
I'm dead.
Sounds like
I'm
a good
done.
Plan. Sounds like
I'm dead.
On a even better on a crucifix. But the only trouble with having sex on a crucifix is it'd be too uncomfortable because of the wood, and the probably has nails on. And Mark Caesar, you don't want to be having sex where there are nails now. Come on. You want a nice, soft bed,
You know
or
what? I'm like Miss Esther. No comment. I had something really nasty to say to that, but I will not say it.
Okay. Okay. You see, I even said Marxism, but the splinters. You see, listen. Dr. Osiris says all the smart people are in hell. Apparently, I guarantee
Apparently,
that they have fixed the air conditioning by now. Guess what I heard the other day, and we will round this up now. I will come back tomorrow. I went to somebody's live stream a few days ago, and they were having a conversation with an ex-Muslim, and they said that, I'm not sure if it's in the Quran or in the Hadith, but that they were saying that hell, listen to this, guys, hell came to God. Hell. So God created hell. And hell came to God and says, there's nobody inside me. There's nobody in us. And we're getting too hot, even for our own liking. Hell says, we're too hot for our own liking. Come on, do something. And God says, okay, before people start coming into you, hell, what I'm going to do, I'm going to help cool you down. So they said, when there's a cold weather, when there's a snow, or that is, hell is cooling down. When there's the heat, the pure heat, then the hell is heating up. That's what has been
I'm
described
like,
in, is it the Hadith or the Quran? I'm not sure which one of
Dr.
those.
Oris. Apparently,
I
hell talks
said,
now. Apparently,
my goodness,
Mark. I
religion,
think it's Mark. I think it's in the
re,
Quran, not the Bible.
religion does screw with people's heads, mashes it up, just grinds it to just hell. Now,
And this is why
speaking.
I refuse to teach it to my children when I
No,
have
thank you.
any.
Listen, guys. Yeah, so hell talks now. That's what I heard in someone's live stream. This person was talking about Islam, and I am not
I'm like,
sure if
religious
they
people have
said
a
it
very
was
big
in the
imagination,
Hadith.
honey.
Either they said it was in the Hadith or it's in the Quran. I'm not sure which it is, but there you go. Dr. Cyrus says crucifix get nailed more often than I do.
I'm dead. I
Listen,
am out.
before we turn this live stream into a sex after dark live stream, better let's bring it to a close.
Yes,
And
because Miss Esther, this is taking a
it's
turn.
taking a different
Okay.
turn. But let me tell you something, Michaela. I'll happily talk about sex. I'll happily, these are the conversations I happily engaging than be talking about hell going to speak to God.
Listen,
But
we have to have a girl chat panel one of these days where a bunch
yes,
of women lay it on the floor
yes.
and have a girl chat
The
after dark.
ladies only stream. Yes, let me
Yes.
tell you. You can come and teach each other skills that you have learned over the years. Your
I'm like, well, honey,
sex
I have a
skills.
few things to offer to the conversation, honey.
No, Mark says where the hell is that in the Bible? No, it's in
It's in the
Islam. I'm not
Quran.
sure whether in the Quran but it's in
Quran is, I
Islam.
think, Islam follows the Muslim tradition, so I'm assuming that would be the Quran. Would that
Yeah,
not be?
I'm not sure. It's Islam. It's in Islam, but I'm not sure which one. Because there's the Quran, there's the Hadith. I'm not sure which. So anyway, guys, Michaela, thank you very much for joining on the conversation.
Yes, and I'll
Thank
be
you for
back
coming to
tomorrow.
join. So tomorrow, same time, I would put the reminder out beforehand, and we will carry on from this same spot. Mark Caesar says, would you have any transsexuals in that girls only sex talk? That would be interesting. Mark Caesar, didn't you know that Michaela is trans?
Hello.
So Michaela is trans. She's a trans woman. And yeah, so that answers your question. If I'm going to have that kind of, live stream, Michaela is my number one guest. Number one. So yes, thank you very much, everyone, and I will see you tomorrow. But remember,
I'm like people. I'm like I thought this was a common known thing on this channel. Now I did a whole live stream with you about it.
But remember, guys, if you're a woman, any religion, your religion hates you. Your religion hates you. Your religion tries to control you. Even you didn't choose what gender to be born in, but your religion tries to dictate how you should live your life, how you should your existence. Your religion wants you to be subservient all the days of your life. I walked away from religion. These are some of the reasons why I walked away. Because no, now I don't have any God, any book, or any deity telling me what to do. No, thank you. Because if I decided I wanted a God or a deity to tell me these are the things I'll have to live by, the things you've heard tonight, we'll come back tomorrow and finish this. So join me tomorrow, and yeah. So Michaela, thank you, and see you tomorrow. Bye bye, everyone. Bye.